I want to live according to my own terms. I'm accustomed to planning ahead for important occasions and dates. I dislike rushing around at the last minute to make decisions and choose gifts. I prefer everything to be organized and timely. So, almost a month before my partner Tomashka's birthday, I started thinking about the gift. Usually, I don't struggle with the question of what to give, but sometimes it takes some effort to choose from various options. However, this time, luck was on my side. We had watched a movie together, and let me digress for a moment. I can't help but share this. It's me, the fool, engrossed in the plot and the actors' performances, while Tomka, during the movie, she would excitedly comment on things like, "Look at those curtains. Wow, what a beautiful chest of drawers. We should have one like that. We should do some renovations. Let's check out these wallpapers, something similar to this, but in beige tones." So about 6 months ago, I caught another one of these remarks from my wife. "Look at the earrings she's wearing." At that moment, I decided that these earrings would make a perfect gift for my wife. And now, almost a month before her birthday, being the tech-savvy person that I am, I took a screenshot of the scene where the earrings were visible and went, no, not to jewelry stores, but to my friend Arkashka. He started as a simple jeweler and now manages a team of talented jewelers. Through him, they created rings for his son's wedding and many other beautiful pieces. This was another opportunity to catch up with my friend and order a unique piece of jewelry for my beloved wife. Arkasha was delighted to hear my voice on the phone and readily agreed to meet, inviting me to his home instead of his workplace. He said, "Come, Petrovich, we can talk about your matter and more." And the next evening, we found ourselves at Arkasha's house. His wife Ira was watching TV while we settled in the room where Arkashka had set up his office. It used to be a children's room, but now served as a private space. I almost wanted to suggest to my friend right away, let's discuss business first, the earrings, and then delve into personal matters. I just know that if we start reminiscing about the past like old men, we might not get to business. We had been talking for no more than 15 minutes when we heard the pleasant chime of the doorbell. It seemed that Arkasha expected his wife to answer it, but Ira didn't respond to the sound. The visitor rang the bell again, more insistently this time. Seeing Ira taking her time, Arkasha decided to open the door himself. He apologized, rose from his desk, and walked towards the study door, which happened to be open, revealing a view of the front door. I noticed that Ira had beaten him to it and was already at the front door. Arkasha was about to return to me when he turned back, hesitating, as if compelled to see who was there. Ira opened the door without checking the peephole, and initially, I couldn't see who was there, but I heard a man's voice. "Well, hello, Ira. I've come to see you," the deep male voice echoed through the hallway. "Ilya?" Ira replied, clearly surprised, while shielding the view from my side. "Why are you lingering in the doorway? Invite the guest in and close the door. It's drafty from the entrance." Arkasha softly chided his wife. Ira stepped aside from the front door, and I saw a man around 45 years old, bending down to pick up 2 suitcases placed next to each other. Swiftly grabbing them, he walked into the hallway. Ira promptly closed the door behind him. "Hello," the man greeted Arkasha without extending his hand. "What brings you here, with suitcases?" Ira's tone seemed rather brusque to me. "Don't you want to invite me in?" The guest responded with a question. Arkasha appeared perplexed. He neither greeted the guest nor asked any questions. He quickly returned to the office where I was waiting for him, seemingly preparing to say something, but I spoke first. "Arkash, maybe I came at the wrong time. You have relatives here. There's still a month left, and if you say we'll make it on time, maybe I should come back in a couple of days." "I'll call you," Arkasha replied briefly. Arkasha and I walked back to the hallway, leaving Ira to accompany the guest to the kitchen. The man left his suitcases near the entrance. While saying our goodbyes, I could hear Ira and the man conversing about something, though I couldn't make out their words. Before closing the door behind me, Arkasha promised to call me within 2 days. 2 days passed, then 4, and even 7 days, but there was no call or any news from Arkasha. My wife's birthday was approaching, so I decided to remind my friend about my request. I immediately sensed that Arkasha had simply forgotten about me, or rather, my inquiry. He apologized earnestly, and I could tell he felt somewhat uneasy. Yet there were hints of sadness or despair. I briefly contemplated asking if something had happened, but Arkasha, attempting to make amends, immediately suggested meeting right away. The meeting was once again scheduled at his house, and within an hour, we were sitting in his office. Only this time, we were alone in the apartment. We swiftly discussed the earrings for Toma, or more accurately, the time and cost required to create them. Arkasha assured me that they would surpass the original or serve as a remarkable prototype. To be honest, I couldn't discern Arkasha's current state of mind and mood. I couldn't decide whether I should inquire about what had happened, or if it was better to leave it alone. Nevertheless, I could sense that something had occurred. Without rushing into personal questions, I began preparing to leave, even getting up from my chair. "Petrovich, are you in a hurry?" My friend asked seriously, evidently hoping for a negative response. "Maybe some brandy." "We can have a brandy," I replied, settling back into my seat. "With lemon? Or perhaps some sandwiches?" he asked, opening the bar. "Well, it depends on the occasion for the brandy," I responded uncertainly before deciding to pose a question. "Did something happen to you?" "It did happen," Arkasha replied after a slight delay, while already pouring cognac into 2 glasses, one of which he handed to me. "It did happen, but I still don't understand what happened, why it happened, and where it will lead. You know, there's a certain state of mind that's quite peculiar. It's a state where even alcohol seems ineffective, and it seemed that Arkasha was in that state now. He poured himself a drink every now and then, but it didn't seem to affect him. I had a couple of sips of the cognac out of courtesy, but then declined further. Meanwhile, Arkasha poured himself 5 more glasses, all in complete silence. He seemed to be either gathering his thoughts or, and you know, Petrovich, perhaps everyone experiences their worst fears in life. I was never afraid of anything in my life. I'm already 60 years old, and I've never been afraid of anything, except for loneliness. For some reason, the thought of waking up alone, walking around the apartment by myself terrified me when I was young. I also believed that it was impossible to be lonely twice, but it turns out it's more than possible. When I was young, it was easier to bear, but now, I don't know. I was a happy man. When I was 20, Ninachka and I got married. Oh yes, you don't know my Ninachka, we met later. She was a wonderful woman. The best? We were 20 then, young, beautiful, full of strength, dreams, and hopes. 3 years later, Ninachka gave birth to Maximka. Wasn't that happiness? It was, or rather, it used to be something to live for, something to work for. Who would have thought then that happiness can't last forever? Do happy people ever think that one day something can go wrong? It was just an ordinary happy morning, a day off. Ninachka made breakfast, and then she suggested that I update Maxim's wardrobe because our son would be turning 18 in a couple of weeks, and he needed more clothes. 20 years have passed since then, and I still can't forgive myself for not going with them.